Should you render first aid to that violent criminal that you just shot in self-defense? Let's get to the bottom of this and stay tuned to make yourself a better and more knowledgeable self-defender.
Drop the weapon or I'll shoot. Drop the weapon.
So should you render first aid to a violent attacker that you just shot in self-defense? Some people will say yes and some people will say no, and both people have good arguments. The people that argue yes, you should give first aid to the bad guy that you just shot will give the arguments of, hey, if you give first aid, it will show that you weren't just trying to kill that bad guy, you were just trying to stop his deadly actions against you. So that will help to shut down any prosecutor or greedy civil attorney that might be trying to paint you as a cold-blooded murderer down the road. Also, too, they will argue, and I agree with this, that they will argue that it is both morally and ethically, hey, this is called the Ethical Preparedness channel, but it is both morally and ethically correct to try to render first aid to that bad guy that you just shot, because we actually aren't out just to try to kill that bad guy. We are actually just trying to stop his deadly actions against us. And I have no problem with trying to save the life of a bad guy that just tried to kill you. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that's going to balk at that, but again, I am not out to kill anybody. I am only out to stop their deadly threats against me. Now, for the people that say, no, don't try to give first aid to your downed attacker that you just shot in self-defense, their arguments are some very huge and valid arguments. First thing is, and something you really got to keep in mind about giving first aid to your downed attacker is, can you safely do so? Nothing says that armed attackers are by themselves. He could have a buddy nearby that you don't know about. So while you're down there trying to do CPR, or chest compressions, or pressure on whatever bullet holes he's got in him, are you opening yourself up from attack from behind? The other thing too is, do you have the equipment that could allow you to give first aid safely? Do you have the equipment that would protect you from blood-borne pathogens? The unfortunate reality is that many bad guys don't exactly lead safe lifestyles. So the chances of a attacker that you just had to kill in self-defense, the chances of him having some type of a blood-borne pathogen is quite high. So again, do you have the equipment that you could actually safely give the first aid to the bad guy without, giving yourself some kind of a disease? And then I've also heard other people argue that if you, while in the course of trying to give first aid to that bad guy, if you end up injuring him more on accident, say giving him compressions and it breaks his ribs or his sternum or what have you, that you could actually be sued for that. So by trying to give first aid, you're actually opening yourself up to even more lawsuits. Now on that one, I'm not really too worried about that because, well, you've already shot the bad guy. If he actually got a successful lawsuit against you, how much more money, since you've already shot him, how much more money do you think some broken ribs or something like that is going to actually cost you? Again, I think that kind of goes back to point number one in this video, which is when you do render first aid, is that you weren't trying to kill him or anything like that. You were just trying to stop his deadly actions against you. So my personal thought is, I think it can only help you in court as long as you can safely do it and not get attacked by a buddy of his or expose yourself to a deadly disease that he might have when he's bleeding out everywhere and you're trying to render first aid to him. So it's just reasons like this that, again, if I don't do this, if I don't give first aid, will I go to prison for the rest of my life? If I do give first aid, will I get sued for millions of dollars because I injured him more? It's just reasons like that that I always suggest that self-defenders belong to a legal self-defense association like Firearms Legal Protection. I'm an affiliate with them, so I'm going to plug them. But join them or join another one, it doesn't matter, just join one. because if you get, well, with firearms legal protection, if you get involved in a self-defense shooting at that scene, you can call their 24-hour hotline and get legal advice from an attorney that will actually answer the phone, and he will tell you what to say or do to protect yourself legally at that scene. Then if you get arrested, Firearms Legal Protection will have a bail bondsman on standby waiting to bond you out of jail. And then if your case goes to trial, Firearms Legal Protection will provide you with an expert attorney and also expert witnesses to fight on your behalf in court to help keep you from going to prison for the rest of your life. They also fight against abusive red flag laws. And then if you are ever forced to kill a burglar in your house, they will even pay for a biohazard company to come out to clean that dead burglar's brain splatter off of your walls and off your carpet. And if you are interested in checking out Firearms Legal Protection, I will put an affiliate link down below. Now here's something that most people, and this is huge, that most people don't think about when it comes time for self-defense shootings. If you get involved in a self-defense shooting, then that means that you honestly thought that you were going to die if you did not shoot that bad guy to stop his violent actions against you. So your adrenaline is going to be through the roof. These self-defense shooting scenes also usually have a lot of confusion going around them. People screaming, people running around, just all kinds of stuff happening. And now you've got this bad guy laying on the ground, blood going everywhere. He might be screaming out in pain, other people screaming, yelling, again, people running, this guy screaming out or going into agonal breaths or what have you. That's just a ton of information that's going into your head within split seconds, and it can be hard to process all of that within those split seconds. So don't be surprised if you stand there frozen because you have went into brain overload. And let me repeat that. All of that stuff happening, your adrenaline through the roof and all that stuff coming into your head and just trying to comprehend it all, don't be surprised if you go into brain overload and freeze and not know what to do next. So you may train at the range to give first aid. You may believe that you want to give first aid, which I do think is a good thing. But again, once that incident happens and all of that outside stuff is coming in and affecting your brain and how it functions and everything like that, you may just freeze and not know what to do next. Folks, I know this to be true because I've experienced it. So whether to give first aid to a bad guy that you just shot is really situationally dependent. But for me, if I can safely do so, I will give first aid to a violent suspect that I just shot, because again, I am not out to kill him. I am out just purely to stop his violent attack against me. And of course, when I talk about giving first aid, I am talking about after you have legally shot somebody in self-defense, and I am talking about after you have called 911 and also asked for help and for medics, because the second that I don't mention that, somebody's going to type down in the comment section of, you should have called 911, they should call 911 first, you forgot to say that. So just information there. So I want you to do me a favor and comment down below with your thoughts on this. Should you attempt, if you can safely do so, should you give first aid to somebody that you just shot in self-defense or not? And to make yourself a better and more knowledgeable self-defender, and to learn what even most gun owners don't even know about the realities of self-defense shootings, then click on the video that should be appearing on the screen just about now to learn that powerful knowledge. Anyways, folks, that is enough internet for me today. It is time for me to go train. And folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you have a good night.